Hey, what's up folks? JayborinoPlays here. I'm going to be starting a brutal walkthrough of Legacy of the Void. So this will be very different from my original series. My original series was on hard mode, and it was completely blind on release day. So if you're looking for something more story-oriented, you know, in that playthrough, I watched all the cinematics, did all the dialogue, all that good stuff, didn't talk over any of it. So again, if you're looking for something that's totally story-oriented and you can kind of follow my journey through playing totally blind the first time, that's the series for you. I'll link it in the description. This is going to be a walkthrough for brutal difficulty so that players who may be having trouble with brutal difficulty can watch this. And I probably still won't talk over the in-game dialogue, and I'll watch some of the cinematics that take place before and after the missions just because they're so cool. And I'll probably just start each mission on the splash screen and then end on the victory splash screen. So I'll skip this one because it's quite long, but this kind of stuff we'll watch, and I'll also still probably not talk over in-game dialogue because it's a habit of mine to not do that. And I've also found that even for like a walkthrough-oriented series, it can be quite bothersome for some reason, at least for me, so I probably just won't do it.
The reclamation of Aiur is underway. We are preparing to siege the warp network at Coruscant now.
Well done, Selendis. Once the warp conduits are free of infestation, our forces will strike as one across the surface of Aiur.
The Templar await your command, Hierarch.
Alrighty, so there's really not much to say about this mission. It's very easy. You could just A-click your way across the whole map. You really could.
Warriors, Aiur awaits you. March forth and take it.
I probably won't A-click. I'll try to save some units. I'm really not concerned about getting those normal level achievements. I'm not going to worry about those at all. I may make comments on them.
Use them well, Artanis.
But for the most part, I would say, you know, if you're about my level of player, you're probably not going to be able to get too many of those on Brutal. You may get some of them, but I'm not going to bother. I'd really rather just focus on being able to beat it. So again, if you're around my skill level, you can kind of use this as a way to learn how to beat these. My goal is to find some of the easiest strategies to use to beat these without it being just a pain in the ass. So like in this situation, I'm trying not to just throw away my zealots. You can lead with the Colossi because they have such a huge range. And this is how you can do this. I mean, you don't have to do this. I want to emphasize, it's not necessary to try to keep your units alive like this. You really could just A-click through. And I would say there's at least a 75% chance that you would be able to still complete it without really any problem at all. So, though, if you lead with the Immortals and the Colossi, you're not going to lose anything.
There is a Zerg hive cluster near your warriors. If possible, we should destroy it.
So like in this situation, I could have done better to lure the units out away from the spine crawlers so that the spine crawlers weren't getting any damage. And as you can see, most of my zealots are already dead. And that's really what's going to happen this mission. Your zealots are just going to straight up die. So another thing I want to point out is once we do get Solarite.
Well fought, my warriors. Let us return our focus to reclaiming the warp conduit.
Once we do get Solarite, I will show at the beginning of each mission how I allocate it, and as well as what kind of unit setups and unit variations I will be using. So you can expect each mission to start on the spear. I'll show that kind of stuff off, explain my choice. And a lot of that stuff is very subjective. I think you can really go in any direction with that kind of stuff. But there's some that are almost like you almost definitely want to go with. We'll explain that as we get to them. And at least this is how I would play to win. And again, my goal is to make it so that a lot of these strategies can be used very easily to definitely complete these missions without too much of a hassle, so that you don't have to be like a super crazy micro-intensive good player to win. Because, I mean, there's some combinations. I think any combination could beat these missions, but you would have to be
Selendis,
much better.
The conduit is ours. Warp down reinforcements.
As you command.
2 warp conduits remain in the grip of the Zerg. Ready yourselves, brethren. We move for victory.
So my ultimate goal is to just find the easier ways to beat these missions and kind of share them with you. And again, you know, we'll also do our best to show off some of the cool cinematics that fall within the missions themselves. So there's a bunch of banelings up ahead. You can lead with the Colossi so that you can kill a lot of the Zerglings, and then probably some of the banelings that come out too. But then also just send like a zealot up there.
Artanis, there are more hives in the surrounding area.
To take those hits.
Destroying them would deal the Zerg a crippling blow.
Right, so I think there's even more too, but this is a situation where you can really save a lot of units if you don't just run your zealots in. Because even if they don't die, they're going to be at really, really low health from taking those baneling hits, so that way lost 0 zealots in that engagement, maybe 1 or 2, I'm not really sure. But the point is, you don't have to be super careful, but if you are, you're guaranteed to win, as opposed to, like, you could probably just take your chances.
For your aid. Allow us to join you in battle.
Okay, let's keep going up here. We'll get this hive, and if you get the hives, unless you're at you have a very low unit count.
Warriors, annihilated.
If you're at a very, very low unit count, you may not want to risk going for the hives, but I really can't imagine a situation where that would happen. Again, if you probably just A-clicked...
cluster has fallen. Continue on, brothers.
If you just A-clicked, odds are you'd be able to complete it. So, there's really not much else to say about this mission, so I'm struggling to think of, like, how to make this a walkthrough, because I'm telling you that you can just A-click. So, one thing I want to point out is, so I did beat this on Brutal. Again, it was kind of a test run. I did a lot of restarts. I think the hardest missions in this campaign are the ones that are timed. They're actually quite challenging, and they kind of have to be beat in a very specific way. Still have a lot of zealots here. At this point, you might be pretty short on zealots, and you can just smash through this section. So yeah, some of those are pretty tough. So we'll see how I do having to commentate, because some of the missions I did have trouble and had to restart a lot. We can like lure these units out, see how fast we can kill these Ultralisks without having to lose too many zealots. The Ultralisks actually tear up my zealots. But again, I'm not microing at all. I could, but the point that I'm trying to make here is you don't have to. You don't have to be a really, really good player to beat this. But I do want to point out that I think Legacy of the Void is probably the hardest StarCraft 2 campaign on Brutal.
Another hive lies in ruins. Only one remains, my warriors.
So that's my opinion. I can't say for sure, but I personally have found, maybe it's just because it's new and I don't have enough practice at it, but I find these to be harder than Wings of Liberty and Heart of the Swarm. Wings of Liberty is maybe a close second, but I don't know if it's that close. Alright, we can just push through here. We have a decent amount of stuff, that's for sure. We need to get in there and kill that Nidus Worm, which my Colossi are doing. I mean, I could have blinked in and killed something, but I just didn't have to. Sometimes you just don't have to do that. Look, I saved a Stalker.
Second warp conduit is activating now.
Psi Matrix signal confirmed. Reinforcements warping in at your location.
Okay, this bridge should extend. So this part's kind of interesting, and this is another part where you could save a lot more units if you so choose. You inch across here and a bunch of stuff will unburrow. You get a bunch of Zerglings that unburrow, and then a bunch of Hydralisks. So like we turn and just kill these things, no problem. So like I was saying,
this brood is coordinated. Their actions are intelligent, beyond feral Zerg.
You speak truly, Zeratul. An unseen hand moves them. We must be on guard.
and as long as your Colossi aren't dying. See, really the point is, if you want to get that achievement, and I'll just make a short comment on that, is just don't throw away your Zealots. If you don't throw away your Zealots, you're probably going to get it. Though on Brutal, it's probably a little harder. I'd be surprised if I got it, but if I do, you know, that's fine too. All right, push in here, and then the whatever Colossi kills. I mean, as we push forward through these missions, I don't really remember what all of these achievements are supposed to be, so don't expect me to remember them all. But for this one, they're really, really straightforward and pretty memorable, so that's fine. This mission is just straight up fun.
The final hive has fallen. Let this be the first victory of many. Aiur will be restored.
I think a lot of people complain, they're like, oh, Protoss, you know, learn how to A-click, yeah. But I mean, I still think it's pretty fun. I understand the point that those people are trying to make, but I think this mission is cool and enjoyable regardless. All right, this section up here, we have to get through some Nidus worms, so we might just blink up and kill them right away. Like, blink over here.
Lies before us. Show the Zerg no mercy.
And try to save units if possible by killing the Nidus worms. There we go. So we have so many Zealots. Really, it's just avoiding those Banelings and avoiding Ultralisks. I don't think there might be a burrowed Ultralisk. I don't know. You can inch up here and you can bait the hybrid to popping out early.
Firstborn, your fate is sealed.
And I don't think these do cleave damage, so you can very easily kill them.
On Aiur, it is they who have needed the Zerg.
All right, we deal with this stuff. And then we just push in, and some of these Banelings might die to Banelings. Some of these Zealots might die to Banelings, no problem.
This is the end of your race.
And the fact that I'm going to have any Zealots alive by the end of this means I think I've done pretty well. if you make it to this point and you don't have any zealots, don't panic. You probably still have more than enough to beat the mission. Again, you could probably A-click and have at least a 75% chance of winning.
The warp conduits have been secured. Our starfighters are moving to take this fight across the surface.
Take command of the invasion, Executor. Zeratul, you and I must discuss this most recent turn of events further.
Alrighty, mission 1 on Brutal done. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Hope you're enjoying. Bye now.